So the presentation was about commissions of inquiry generally and what role they can and should play in South African democracy. So it looked at the reasons why we established commissions of inquiry, when the government establishes a commission of inquiry, what is the purpose of that? What goals is it meant to serve? And the main goals are truth-finding and restoration or restoring public confidence in the state, or bringing about some form of reconciliation between adversarial parties. And then it considers whether commissions of inquiry actually regularly achieve those goals, or whether they are used for different ends, whether it's by the state or whether as a nature of the process of the commission of inquiry, it's unable to achieve those truth-finding and restoration ends. And so it looks at a number of ways in which commissions of inquiry can be manipulated or abused to delay a problem so the government doesn't have to deal with it, to obfuscate a problem, to shift blame to a different organization, to be used to attack other arms of government, or, for example, the province to attack a national organ of state. And the difficulties with the processes that commissions of inquiry follow, and how using the wrong process for the wrong type of commission can have really negative results. And then it looked at 3 of our recent commissions of inquiry to see how they played out. So the Marikana Commission, obviously, the Khayelitsha Commission into policing in Khayelitsha, and the Commission of Inquiry into the arms deal. And I concluded that you can see in all of these commissions elements of the manipulation of, well, why the commission was established, particularly in the arms deal case, and also in the Khayelitsha Commission and the Marikana Commission, was not solely for these pure noble reasons of truth-finding and justice, but for narrow political purposes. And that in many ways the commissions achieved those narrow political purposes. But at the same time, they also have positive impacts. The Arms Deal Commission, even though it was really a whitewash in the sense that it's clearly not independent, the commissioners are manipulating the process in order to prevent relevant evidence that would show corruption by high-ranking government officials from being admitted in the commission. Even though that's the result, the fact that the commission existed and the fact that organizations like Lawyers for Human Rights participated in the process showed that it was just a whitewash. So what we know after the commission is that it hasn't finished yet, but what we know, even though it hasn't finished yet, is that it's being used by the government to whitewash the arms deal, to make sure that the truth doesn't come out. And we wouldn't know that unless public interest organizations or civil society had participated in the commission up to the point where it became clear that it wasn't actually going to achieve its goals. So the Marikana Commission is interesting as a commission because it's both a mixed type of commission. So it's primarily investigative in the sense that it's trying to find out what happened during that week, and particularly on the 16th of August, who was responsible for the killings. But it also initially, at least, had a very forward-looking advisory mandate to try and understand the underlying conditions that led to the strike action in the first place and what could be done to affect that. So everything from migrant labor to housing plans, social and labor plans, and all those kind of issues, which eventually got pushed to the side. And I think the Marikana Commission was never intended to actually result in liability for the police. It was part of a long history of South African commissions into police killings, which are part of a narrative of tragedy. So the idea is that what happened at Marikana was a tragedy. And if it's a tragedy, it means it was unavoidable, which means no one's to blame for it. The police aren't to blame, and the strikers aren't to blame. It was just inevitable consequence. So we can't actually impose responsibility on anybody for what occurred. And that's a narrative that you see in the way that the terms of reference are framed and the way that the state approached the Marikana Commission. So I also think that there were many mistakes that were made in the processes that were followed in the commission, that the commissioners made mistakes, that the evidence leaders made mistakes. I think they would probably acknowledge that they would want to do things differently in hindsight. But the long delays, the excessive cross-examination that was allowed resulted in, I mean, the delay of finalizing the commission, but also meant a lot of time was spent on unnecessary witnesses instead of getting to the heart of the matter, calling the people who shot the rifles that killed people, or actually getting into the phase 2 issues, the socio-economic issues. But still, the Marikana Commission, that doesn't mean it was a failure, it was a waste of time. There's still good things that came out of the commission. I think we know a lot more now about what happened than we would otherwise. And we don't know that if there hadn't been a commission, if there would have been prosecutions or not. There might have been nothing. So it's one thing to point out the flaws in the commission, but it definitely also served a good purpose. Whether it was worth the cost in money and time is a very difficult